friends of God? Do you like a good roller coaster ride? Do you like perhaps going to an amusement park? And have you been on one of those rides that take you up and down and everywhere? Well, come with me today. My name is Dwain. Come with me today because we're going on a roller coaster ride with Jesus. That's our study for today. Two wonderful stories from Mark chapter 5, verses 21 all the way to about 43. We encounter Jesus in two very touching situations. The first tells us of a man named Jairus, an official of the synagogue. Now, officials of the synagogue were not really friends of Jesus. In fact, in Mark chapter 1 and verse 22, we learn that Jesus taught with authority, not like them. So that separated Jesus by himself, that he was a man of authority. And when he taught, miracles and power followed, and the people saw the difference. So that didn't endear him to the scribes and the Pharisees. But then the Bible says in Mark chapter 3, verses 1 to 6, that when he healed someone in the synagogue, the scribes and the Pharisees were indignant. They were so upset that they went out and plotted his murder. But in this story, we find beginning in Mark chapter 5, verses 21, there is Jairus, a synagogue official who comes to Jesus by the seaside and is imploring Jesus to come to his house that he might heal his daughter. He's got a sick daughter who is dying, but he has faith. He's desperate for help from Jesus. Have you ever been desperate for help from Jesus, that Jesus will do something for you that you have a great need for? That's Jairus. He's desperate, begging Jesus, please help me. Jesus begins to go to his house now. He's got Peter, James, and John with him. But he's interrupted. The Bible says, by another woman who comes in behind him. The Bible says that for 12 years, she's had an issue with blood. She's been bleeding and bleeding that won't stop. Now, in the book of Leviticus, the Bible tells us what this is like. To have an issue of blood meant that she was unclean. It meant that anything she touched, people had to clean after she left. She could not hug people. If she hugged someone or touched someone, they were unclean. And they had to cleanse themselves and be separated for 7 days from the rest of the community. It was a devastating diagnosis that she had. But she concentrated, Ellen White says in the book Desire of Ages, she concentrated all of her faith into one touch. And when she touched the very hem of Jesus' garment, she was healed. Have you touched Jesus lately? Healing virtue went out of Jesus, and he asks, who touched me? Who touched me? Of course, everybody's around him, but Jesus perceives that virtue had left him. He wasn't going to scold her. Jesus wanted to free her, not just of her physical malady, but of any spiritual malady that she had as well. And this he does. Be of good courage. Your faith has made you whole, says Jesus to this woman with the issue of blood. But then Jesus continues on to Jairus' house. He doesn't forget Jairus. When he gets there, the paid mourners are screaming and making noise. Jesus clears them out, goes into the room of this precious little one that has now died, and calls her back to life. Talitha cumi. Jesus says, little girl, little lamb, come back to life. I'm so excited today that Jesus can still call dead things back to life. He still calls dead people back to life. And he wants us not just to be well, but to prosper in our souls and in our spiritual lives as well. He calls us back to spiritual life and physical life. May we experience that today.